friends, welcome back. Today I want to talk about the topic of closure, why there is a need for closures, and why we humans, being so conscious in our own minds, need closure to move on. We all know that life is never easy, right? And if you feel like that it is getting easy, then I believe that you're not fighting enough problems in your life that are worth giving a shit about. And closure plays a very important role in our lives. The closure is nothing but a human's ability to move past a situation or an experience. The experience need not be a pleasant one, it can be a soul wrenching one. The closure allows one to move on. And we need closure in situations, especially when things do not transpire the way we desire them to be. And in this video, I talk about closure, which is something I believe every human in their lives faces at some given point, and I intend to describe this with a personal experience of mine. So the first question to ask is, when is closure required? We are always searching for some sort of closure in life, right? Either when we fail an exam, we want to know the reasons for that. If we get fired from a job, we want to know what we did wrong or why we were fired. If we love someone and they just start ghosting us, we want to know whether there is something wrong with us. That is the typical first thing that comes to mind. So sometimes when two people are involved in something but have different takes on the situation, then in the end, one of the two persons involved can feel drifted apart for no apparent reason. And this happens because two people went in for something with different expectations and personalities and coming out the way that they want to deal with the situation in their own way. I agree that this is correct in the perspective of the individuals, but most often they forget about the emotional needs of the other person who is involved with them as well. So this is where the need for closure arises. One person wants to discuss the situation and close the chapter and move on, while the other tries to either ignore the other person or pretend that it never happened. The one who has been left stranded faces a situation where there are only two potential options. One, forget that all that happened as the other person and try to move on. And the second option being trying to convince the other person to talk about it. But in both situations, the stranded person will deteriorate their own emotional health in search of closure either way. And this can lead to a devastating scenario of the stranded person becoming less trusting and antisocial over time. Now I want to tell you about why I required closure and what happened in my case. So back in my home country a few years ago, I was almost falling for a girl, and we both were working together in different departments of the same company. She was beautiful and smart, but what she lacked was maturity and empathy for others. And a lot of time alcohol acts as a great catalyst when you want things to get flowing organically, right? And I used to believe that as well, but my perspective was about to change forever. At a party, I and her getting drunk, then going home together led to the most emotional turmoil period of my life, and some things happened and led to a following disastrous period. When we came to our senses, we realized that whatever happened should not have happened, at least this soon, this fast, and we approached the problem with two completely different mindsets. I was the one who was trying to talk to her to discuss the place that we were in, whereas her mindset was all about discarding this whole situation and whole thing and move on with her own life. First, she ghosted me for a week, but since we worked in the same company, this plan absolutely failed. Then she tried to act casual as if nothing had happened between us. And for me, it was not bearable. I did not know what to do in that situation, and I was kind of emotionally conflicted and confused. Then I had confessed my feelings to her that night when things transpired between us, and she hadn't expressed hers. So in my mind, I thought that I deserved to have a conversation about it and get some closure so that I don't keep on clinging to something that was never there and will never be there. So I was having a hard time trying to act casual. One more week passed and these shenanigans leading to my emotional state deteriorating, and by the day my behavior showed it pretty evidently. I was agitated and frustrated most of my days. I tried to pester her to talk, to resolve the issue, but she discarded the idea like you discard a piece of rotten bread. Finally, a mutual friend had to intervene and got us alone to deal with the shit that deeply involved us. The talk did not lead to a relationship, but it made possible for me to continue with my life and understand what the hell was going on in her mind and what she wanted. So I got to know where I stand and what she expects from this friendship or camaraderie we had. I knew where the boundaries are, and I was aware now of how not to cross them. And this is what I wanted from her from the start, the closure. So this was my story, and as you can see that I was in desperate need of closure, and I believe that everybody needs to have closure in every situation of their own lives. So here are my parting thoughts with you. So some of you might be thinking that okay, this is pretty trivial and it happens to a lot of people, and it's not worth something that you need to listen to or you need to hear about. I don't condemn those people, but this is a problem that definitely needs more discussion. People on both sides of the warfare should know how to deal with the situation when there is a necessity for closure. People who are trying to run away need to get the message across their minds that if you're not narcissistic, then you should care about the feelings of others and give them a chance to move on by providing them the closure that they deserve. It might be hard for you to do so, but once you do this, the chances of both of you living your lives in a sorted way increases, and you can clearly focus on the things that demand your attention. If you liked the video, then don't forget to subscribe, like and comment to support me in creating more videos like this. I will see you again next week.